forward in.
Thank you very much. There's no microphone, so I will try to keep my voice up. Feel free to kind of turn your chairs towards me if you wish. It'll at least make you think a little more you're actually listening to me and looking at me. Well, you know, I wanted to have a chance to address everybody here right at the outset, my first day, because I just think it's good right out of the chute to say some things so that you know a little more about me and kind of where I've come from in life, because it makes me think the way I think, and just to set a tone, what I think is the proper tone to be set for Immaculate Conception Academy, with me serving as vice principal. How long will I serve as vice principal? I have no idea. This speech alone might be enough for them to say, we got to get rid of this guy. He's crazy. But we'll see. But as I want to reinforce what I said, the very few words I said the other day when we sent Mr. Birch off was, I want to repeat it again because I was so serious when I said it, is that the very best people I know in the whole world are here at Immaculate Conception. I'm talking about your parents, your uncles, your aunts, your relatives, your friends, the parents of all of you, your friends. I'm not just saying it to warm you up. These are the best people I know in the whole world, and I was absolutely serious when I said your two priests are the two best priests I know in the whole world. So believe me when I say that, and it's a major motivating factor for me really being interested in deciding to take this position, only because I thought I could help. I mean, big shoes to fill with Mr. Birch, who was here a long time. Understand that every one of you knows more about Immaculate Conception Academy than I do. Okay, every one of you does. Okay, so I'm learning as much as I can every day. I've talked to some of the teachers and the staff, but not near enough of them, but I'm starting to get a small sense of things. But I was persuaded by a few people that the things I can bring to the table eventually, that I can really serve Immaculate Conception Academy. And if I didn't believe that, I wouldn't have done it. I wouldn't have taken this position. So understand that. I want you to know that this is actually what I consider my fourth profession in life. I turned 60 years old back in September. This is now my fourth profession. I'm going to talk a little bit about what I consider the first three. Those of you that dared to run cross country in the fall have heard this a couple of times. So bear with me again. I'm going to talk about my background and why it makes me think the way I do, or at least it leads to that. I grew up in Madisonville, just 4 miles from here. Went to what then was called St. Margaret of Cortona School. It still, I guess, has that parish name. They merged some schools. I'm one of 11 children, and I grew up in the 1960s. I mean, I was born in 1956. So I grew up in the 1960s and graduated from the 8th grade in 1970. And as you know from just the history I'm sure you learned from your parents and at school here, I was literally in 5th grade when the Second Vatican Council ended. And at the same time, it seemed that the church and the world just got a little crazy, all at the same time. And I went away to college in the early 1970s, and I'm telling you, things were getting wild. It was unlike, it was the difference in this world between 1963 and 1973. It's amazing what happened in 10 years in this world. It really is. So I grew up through some tumultuous times. I went to St. Xavier High School here in Cincinnati. Came out of grade school probably the least athletic kid of anyone in my class. I was literally the slowest guy in my class. And I wanted to be an athlete, but what do you do when you're this tall and the slowest guy in the class? And somehow I got into, I don't know how, but I started just getting into distance running. I decided I was going to run. everyone else was faster than me, so I decided I was going to run farther than everybody else. It was really kind of the only way to distinguish myself. I can run 4 miles. I can run 5 miles. Well, that turned me into a high school cross-country runner at St. X. And I was a reasonably good, by the time it was over, above average cross-country runner in high school. Walked on to Western Kentucky University's cross-country team. Did not decide to go there even knowing if I was going to run in college. I was doubtful whether I was going to be good enough to run college cross-country. But I walked on down there, and unbeknownst to me, they were one of the best teams in the country. In my freshman year, as a walk-on athlete at Western Kentucky University, we were the NCAA runner-up. We were the second best team in the country. My teammate was the national champion. We were so good, it was unbelievable. I thought, what am I doing here? I'm completely over my head. I don't belong here at all. 2 years later, I was 5th man on the cross-country team there that finished 14th in the nation. In my senior year, I was team captain, and 2 years after that, I qualified for the United States Olympic Marathon Trials in 1980. How did I do that? I was a talentless kid. Everybody that knew me in high school and college knew this guy's got no talent. How did I do that? Well, part of that's what shaped me. I don't really take no for an answer. I tell you, I hate seeing people waste their talent. Boy, I've got stories of wasted talent. Guys, Olympic caliber talent just blew their lives. Breaks my heart. Cannot stand to see wasted talent. But I was accepted to go to law school in my junior year of college, and I put it off 7 years because I wanted to be a runner. And my goal was to qualify for the U.S. Olympic trials in 1980, and by the grace of God, and literally it was providential, by the grace of God I did it. And I actually put off law school 4 more years because I wanted to see if I could qualify for the 1984 Olympics. And again, there's a big difference between the Olympic trials and the Olympics. Believe me, I wasn't anywhere good enough to make the Olympic team. I qualified for the Olympic trials, as did about 200 other men in America. So I put it off for the 1984 Olympic trials, and that didn't go that well, and I had injuries, and I never qualified in '84, so I finally had to grow up at the age of 29 and go to law school. So I went to law school, and I've been practicing law, let me back up. I want to say, in my mind, my first profession was as a distance runner. We were like professional athletes. There wasn't any money for us back then. But we were like professional athletes. Everything we did in life was shaped around becoming better runners. And I did have 2 college teammates that ran in the Olympics. I mean, these guys were good. And we ran twice every day, and it was serious business. And I considered that my first profession, really. As part of putting off law school, I had to do something to support myself. So I got into university housing and stayed on college campus. And actually, after I left Western Kentucky, got hired at Eastern Illinois University in Charleston, Illinois. Not that far from is it La Salette High School in Illinois?
Yes.
That's it?
Yes.
Yeah, it's not that far from there. And for 4 years, I ran residence halls on a college campus. My first year there, I was in charge of a residence hall with 620 college students in it. 60% girls, 40% boys. And then the next year, because of a staff change, they moved me over to run a residence hall with all men, 450 guys. I was in charge of everything, from building maintenance to discipline. And I dealt with guys smoking pot in their dorm rooms and drinking illegally in the halls and vandalizing and all kinds of stuff. It was my job to discipline. So, as a little aside, I'll say, you guys are nothing. I'm not afraid of you guys. Having to deal with discipline at ICA, not a problem at all. You should see the zoo I came from. So, but anyway, that was good work and very enjoyable work at a university campus. And I learned, believe me, it doesn't seem that long ago. I have a lot of fond memories and a lot of feelings about college. And and going to college. And those of you going to college, I'd be delighted to sit down and talk to you, especially those of you going away, living on campus somewhere. I'd love to sit down and talk to you. So that was my second profession, and my third profession was as a lawyer. And I practiced law for 29 years, and I'm still trying to get rid of my law practice. It's going to take a while for me, because this all happened a little more quickly than I expected. When I agreed to take this position with Father James and Father Greenwell at a meeting about 3 weeks ago, we thought I was going to start in June. We didn't expect Mr. Birch to leave so suddenly. God bless his heart. But when he did, I said, okay, I'll come on. But I'm still, you all, everyone's going to have to bear with me maybe in the month to come, because I'm still getting rid of about 100 clients in my law practice. So, but anyway, practicing law was my third profession, and now I consider this my fourth profession. And having said that, I want to talk a little bit about what I know about the goals and the mission statement of ICA and what it means to me and what tone I want to set for it. Just some observations. I got a few notes here. I almost never follow my notes. But I just want to really talk from my heart to all of you about what, to me, the mission statement for ICA is, what the faculty and staff and the priests, from my understanding, I've not been here long, but from my understanding, what they expect of you, and I want to tell you what it means to me. The first, there's four elements that I understand from the mission here. One of them is moral development. Moral development, which of course is very tight relative to spiritual development. All right? You know, I don't know that teenagers can appreciate, and I'm not talking down at you. Believe me, my high school years did not seem that long ago. They really don't, in my mind. As teenagers, I don't know if you can fully appreciate the value of having Mass every day. The value of having the true Mass every day. And, you know, it's a good spiritual life is a mental challenge. Maybe it isn't for some people. For me, it is. I mean, of all people, I go into Mass sometimes, my head is spinning. I mean, even today, you know, here's my first day. I don't know most of the students. I don't know a lot of the parents. I've got a law practice I'm trying to get rid of. I've got a federal court brief due on Wednesday. I'm not sure I'm going to get that done. It'll be in meetings. And meanwhile, Wednesday is parent-teacher conferences and report cards coming out. Believe me, my head is spinning. And when I went into Mass today, it was hard mental work to concentrate on the Mass. And I know for teenagers that's true too. And I just want to throw the gauntlet down to you a little bit and encourage you. You know, make it a mental challenge that you're going to meet when you go to Mass every day. So when you walk through that door, make yourself get ready for it. It's hard work. Even anything that's repetitive. You go to Mass every day, of course it gets repetitive. Saying the Rosary, all those Hail Marys, it gets repetitive. It's so easy for your mind to wander. I mean, I know that more than anybody. And I just want to encourage you all, really kind of double down on your spiritual life here. And I've been getting to Mass sometimes during the week, but today I had the benefit of just kneeling in the back and kind of observing for the first time as someone who I guess has some authority over you now. And you know, I was not that impressed by what I saw from the upperclassmen in terms of participation. I mean, very few people were looking at their missals, which is hard work. It's hard work to get yourself to do that and to pay attention to it. The prayers after Mass, the Hail Marys, the prayers for the conversion of Russia, I hardly saw any lips move. You know what? I don't know if you've noticed, you know, we're months away from the 100th anniversary of the miracle of the sun at Fatima. Our Lady told us prophecies about Russia. You can't turn on the TV today without hearing about Russia. These are gravely serious times. Can you get yourself maybe to say the prayers for the conversion of Russia? Please. You know, and if you don't know what else to pray for me. Heavens, Betsy, pray for me. Please, pray for something. All right? So I don't mean I don't posture myself as some holy, devout guy. I have to work every day of my spiritual life. So I'm going to just pound the desk a little bit and demand that you all just double down and work harder when you go into that church. Appreciate it and work hard at it for 45 minutes, all right? That's number one. The other thing, just spiritually, that I would say about it is, you know, as an attorney, I've had an opportunity to represent out there in the public forum, so to speak, some really good, devoted Protestant men and women that are public activists. I mean, their theology is wrong, but these are very good, decent men. And every once in a while, I have a chance to talk to them about the theology, the difference between the Catholic faith and their faith as Protestants. And I explain to them the Mass, that the Mass isn't just an assembly, it's the sacrifice of Calvary. And I say to them, if you could get in a time machine and go back 2,000 years and be at the foot of Calvary during the crucifixion, wouldn't you have to do it? Wouldn't you have to go in that time machine to be at the foot of the cross? And they admit it. Yeah, I mean, I would have to go. You know? And as Catholics with the true Mass, we have that every day. Every day. The Protestants don't believe it. And they admit it. If I believed that, I'd come to Mass. So we do believe that. So let's not take Mass for granted. All right? I'm going to be pretty obnoxious about that. We're not going to take Mass for granted. Okay? That's what I have to say about our moral and spiritual development. Because if we do those things, all good things will follow it. The second category is intellectual development. Okay? Academic development. That's pretty much why schools exist. Again, I don't think you can really appreciate the value of what you are getting here. A true Catholic education. That doesn't just mean religion class. And we're moving more and more towards locking down, the classical Latin curriculum. You've got a lot of it already, but we're still working hard on that. I'm being just introduced to recently the effort we're going to make to do that. But let me tell you, this is true. I'm telling you a true observation now about my life. I was probably 40 years old before I really started coming back to the traditional Latin Mass. I mean, I was a Novus Ordo Catholic for a while because of all the confusion in the church. And at some point, I could see things pretty clearly. Came back to the traditional Mass, and in meeting some of the people, and I'll name a name. My good friend Jim Earling. His kids are here. I've been practicing law with him now for years. And he's an ICA grad. He's not in the house, is he? Okay. I invited him over, but I guess he didn't make it. It was fun just talking about things. We'd be debating politics and talking about history and things of that nature around the office and when we were friends. And at some point, after listening to Jim, Mr. Earling, and some other traditional Catholics, I realized that I was 40 years old. I had undergraduate degrees in government and philosophy. I had a math minor. I got certified to teach math way back when. And a master's degree in higher education and a doctoral degree in law. That's what a law degree is. And I realized at age 40, with those degrees, I'm not really educated. I'm not really educated. The friends of mine who had gone through Immaculate Conception Academy understood so much more about world history, about other things that happened, things of philosophy. And I realized, having been educated at St. X High School back after the Jesuits started to lose it, and then going to a secular university, there were so many things about my perspective of the world. It was like there was a black hole there. And I realized you cannot really understand history without understanding the role of the Catholic Church. You start taking the Catholicism and the Catholic faith out of history, and you don't know history. That's what I realized at age 40. And so I say that to, again, make you and push you to appreciate what you've got here. You'll appreciate it later. But don't waste it. Don't waste your opportunity to really get educated here. true education in history and literature and theology. This is where you're going to get it. All right? So, and I graduated from Western Kentucky summa cum laude. That's the highest level of, and I thought I'm summa cum laude and I'm an idiot. I don't know anything. I mean, that's how I felt at some point. So, as I said before, I can't stand wasting talent, and I'm not going to let anyone waste their academic talent here. All right, I'm going to try to set a tone. We're going to work hard. We're not going to waste this opportunity to become truly educated Catholics. The third part of the mission statement is to develop you socially. Socially. What does that mean? I'm just going to tell you what it means to me. I mean, I know how you look. You have trouble believing this in the world you're growing up in, and the families you're in, the school you're in. You look at the world around you. Catholic families that believe everything that you and your parents and the priests here believe, that was like mainstream society when I was a kid. Before the Second Vatican Council, everybody around us was Catholics. Everybody. And most of society. That was a great conversion towards the Catholic faith in the United States after World War II. Into the 1950s, there were a lot of Catholic converts. And growing up, everybody around me was what we would now call traditional Catholic. And because of the sad state of the world and the church, a lot of them welted away. Now we feel like a little isolated group of people that the world thinks we're crazy. I understand that. All right? But, so what do we do socially? What do we do socially? Do we want to go join all those weirdos out there? You know, what are we going to do? What do you do when you graduate from here? Well, there's plenty you can do, and you don't have to be a weirdo. Okay? I remember going into, I was in college and I was walking into a party, same friends, same track team parties all the time. The same people are pretty much always there. I remember walking in the front door, and of one party, I was with somebody, and there was some guy that I vaguely recognized at the front door, spouting off about how stupid you have to be to believe in God. What kind of idiots believe in God? This guy right there at the front door of my friend's house. I just got stopped. And I said, look, there's plenty of reasons to believe in God. Proof of God is all around us. What are you talking about? And I said, there's a lot of people a lot smarter than you that believe in God, too. So I engaged him for about 5 minutes and moved on. But later, a girl that I was with said to me, I was really proud of you for defending our Lord like that. It was all part of a bunch of pagans over there. But, these are the kinds of opportunities you're going to have when you leave ICA, and it's going to be much worse now. It used to be the atheists were kind of they were the small, weird bunch. Now the atheists are running the universities. Believe me, not that long ago, I sued Ohio State University. I took depositions of their faculty members. These are hardcore atheists. And those are the people, when you move on, for those of you that are going to college, believe me, we're not welcome there. We're not welcome there. So, my view of what I would like to see you do as ICA graduates is go out, engage the world, make friends with the pagans. There's a lot of good folks out there that just don't have the faith. Blend into society, but always retain your Catholicism. Have the courage and have the faith to retain your Catholicism. That's what developing social means. I still get together with my dear friends from Western Kentucky. We have a cross-country reunion almost every summer. And, is that the bell already? No. Don't worry, I'm not done yet. We're going to be late. But I know that not by being preachy, just by acting Catholic, just by keeping your faith and acting Catholic, you can have enormous influence on people. You can have an enormous influence on society. One year when I was a residence hall director at Eastern Illinois, there was a lot of Catholic kids around from Chicago. and down from Chicago especially. And I remember one of the guys that was like a desk clerk in the residence hall, nice kid, knew him well. Me and one of my graduate assistants went to Mass every Sunday. We were both Catholic. And one day my friend Jack came up and said, hey, you got room in your car for Mass? And I said, yeah, come be down at 10 till 9. And it was 1 mile off campus. And from that point forward, he was going to Mass with us all the time. 15 years later, he got married. I went to his wedding. And I met the priest who was marrying him. And he introduced, and he met me and he said, oh, you're Tom, you're the guy from Cincinnati. And I said, yeah. He said, yeah, you're Tom. You're the reason Jack went back to the church. I thought, what? I had no idea that Jack wasn't going to Mass when he asked me for a ride. I just assumed he was going to a different Mass or different. But I never said a thing to Jack. I never preached to him. All I did was go to Mass. And that alone was enough to convert somebody to go back to the church. And all you have to do is act Catholic. You'll have an enormous influence on society. All right? It's so important to me, and believe me, to everybody here, that when you leave ICA, you go out in the world, you remain Catholic. You don't walk away from it. And it's going to take some courage. You know, I don't know if any of you have seen, there's this guy, that's my law office, some of you might know where it is. It's over on the other side of Montgomery Road. There isn't a week go by, but a couple of days, I don't see this guy walking around with pink hair and cutting a mohawk. Anyone see that guy walking around Norwood? Yeah, some of you have. You know what? I don't want that guy running society. I don't want his kids running society. I don't want his kids to be my congressman. I want you guys to be my congressman and congresswoman. All right? To me, that's what the social development means. Get out into society and be Catholic. And you don't have to be isolated weirdos to do it. All right? I'm sure Father Jenkins and Father Greenwell would develop that thought even further. But that's what it means to me. The fourth and final of the areas of the mission statement are physical development. The obvious thing there is sports. I think it's clear enough I'm a big sports fan, and I'll push it and defend it. It's got its place, though. It can't become your religion. It might have become my religion for a while in the 1970s, I must admit. But it's got its place. But even aside from sports, some of you may not be very athletic. Some of you may just be born with no talent. And, you know, it doesn't mean you can't develop yourself physically. I told the story to my cross-country team, I think, during our first meeting. I've got 60 nieces and nephews, so about half of them are girls. The most unathletic of my nieces, she was just always a big, not necessarily fat, but just a big-boned, awkward, clumsy girl. And I was told she was a junior at some point in high school, she was going to run cross-country. I thought, this is the most bizarre thing ever. This is the last person in the world that I would ever think would or could run cross-country. But she went out there, she was encouraged by her teammates, she always finished last. And now she's 30 years old, lives in Chicago, and she told me a couple months ago the best part of her day is going out and jogging along Lake Michigan while she says the rosary. That girl never was and never will be an athlete. And you know what? She looks great too. Okay? So don't let not being athletic stop you. You can still develop yourself physically. Obviously, it's a healthy thing to do. Mentally, it's a healthy thing to do. So, sports or not, there's good reasons to get your blood flowing a little bit. Get up off the couch. Get out and move around a little bit. Go out and run on a 100-degree day this summer. Right? Get out in the heat and run for a while. But blow it out. You know? All right, so come on in. You can come in. Okay. All right. So those are my comments about the four parts of the mission of ICA. Now, having said that, I want to go on to say this. There is no reason not to be excellent. Not to be excellent at what you do. Be fanatics. Fanatics has kind of become a bad word. Hey, fanatics is a great word. Be a fanatic. I mean, be great at something. God gave all of you a talent. Don't just bide your time with it. Develop it. Be great. Anyone here play a musical instrument? Raise your hand if you play a musical instrument. Good. How many of you feel like you've devoted a lot of time to it? Raise your hand. How many of you would like to do something professionally with it, or at least maybe in college develop it further? A few hands here and there. You know what? I don't have a musical bone in me. Some of my family members do. I've really admired all those people who play, that develop the musical talent. You know, you could take the attitude that, hey, if I am accomplished enough, I may be able to get a college scholarship for music. I had a niece that got a scholarship to Miami for music 20 years ago. But you know, I'd rather push you a little further and say this. Why not make 5 colleges think that you're so great that you get to pick which one of those 5 you're going to go to on a full run? Why not be that good? Huh? Why not be that good? Let me tell you, because I've told you about my background, I'm sorry. So many times I'll start with, I remember when. And I'll tell a story about my days as a runner, or my days in the residence halls, or my days as a lawyer. So here's the only one I'm going to lay on you here. And it's kind of what makes me, I guess, what I am, for better or worse. And I want to plant this in your head. When I was training for the Olympic trials, which have been through 1978, 1979, when things were well and I was healthy, I was running about 120 miles a week. Okay, that's 17 miles a day. I don't expect that to make any sense to you, but at that level, that's what you're doing. We had some guys down in Western Kentucky from Canada who were trying to make Canada's Olympic team. And one guy was training for the marathon, and he did. His name was Don Howson. He did make Canada's Olympic team that year. I was training with him every day. And I was typically going 125 miles a week. Don was able to run 140 miles a week. I don't know how he did it. He was he was 2 years older than me. He was a bit bigger bone, stronger than me. I knew that I wouldn't hold up trying to get in. I wanted to do a 140 mile a week. I just wanted to do it. Mentally, I wanted to do it. I just knew physically I couldn't do it on 2 runs a day. So I just decided, spring break came, and I decided I wanted to run a 140 mile week. That's just mentally I wanted to do it. So spring break came, most of the campus clears out, everyone goes home. I stayed down there by myself, and there were a few other my teammates around. With campus cleared out, and I decided I'm going to run 140 miles this week. So I ran 3 times a day. I was running in the morning, I was running about 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and I would go out and run 10 o'clock at night. And averaged 20 miles a day for that week and got in 140 miles. What did that do for me as an athlete? I'm not sure it changed a thing. But mentally, I wanted to do it, and I found a way to do it. So this is what you have to do if you decide you want to really get good at something. Do not sell yourself short. All right? We want excellence here. And I'm even going to throw a challenge to those that are scrapping to be valedictorians. My understanding is there's about 5 of you that are real close. And somebody threw the names out to me, and I don't remember who they all were. But you know what? Congratulations to the 5 of you for obviously applying yourself, doing very well. It will be a great tribute to whoever wins it. But my challenge to the 5 of you right now is compete like the Dickens for it. You got 4 people. You got 4 people trying to take it from you. You know, even those of you that are at the top of the class, do something extra. Do something extraordinary to try to be valedictorian. There's still more you can do between now and the end of May. And if you're not careful, somebody's going to take it from you. All right? So even the people at the top can do more. And having said that, I'm going to conclude with a couple thoughts. One is, again, the drive for excellence. From the time I was a kid, I was hearing, someday there will be a cure for cancer. I'm sure cancer has affected many families here. Someday there will be a cure for cancer. I'd like to see someone in this room find a cure for cancer. Right? Why not somebody in this room find the cure for cancer? Don't put a goal like that out of your sight. One of these days, Roe versus Wade is going to get overturned, and we're not going to have this nonsense about a constitutional right to abortion. How about somebody in this room go to law school and be the guy who throws Roe, or the gal who throws Roe v. Wade on the ash heap of history? Why not one of you? It's not that, doesn't have to be somebody else. Be brilliant. Be brilliant. Go for it. So, I want to wrap up by saying this. This may be, I've laid some heavy challenges on you and all that. But I want to encourage everybody, because life is tough. Life is tough. Life as a teenager is tough. Believe me, I know it. We all know it. I want to urge everybody to be happy. It's not always easy to be happy. Wake up every morning and insist that you're going to be happy. All right? It means the world sometimes to how your day goes, how your life goes. There's a lot of burdens, a lot of things you can be unhappy about, a lot of heartbreak in life. You know what? Wake up and be happy. Insist on being happy every day. And the final thing I want to say is, having here on my first day on the job, but having been really involved here with Immaculate Conception, going to church and much less involved with the school, but knowing some of your parents, and I've come to the last 2 or 3 graduations, and I've come to the pro-life rhetoric contest. That's another thing to get to work on, everybody. Has that started yet? Is that internal contest started already?
It's in process.
Okay, all right. That's another good thing, just to double down on and try to do something extraordinary with your speech. But coming in as I'm coming in, I want to tell those of you that will be graduating, really everyone, really how proud I am of you. Because I'm out in society plenty. I'm walking around downtown, I travel some, I'm all over courthouses. And I see a lot of young people in society. And you know what? It's depressing seeing people your age out in the world these days. It's pitiful. It's pitiful. Their behavior is pitiful. The way they look is pitiful. And I am so proud of the way you people appear, the way you behave. I'm sure you have your less than stellar moments. I'm sure your teachers will tell me all about it. But we were all kids once. And I think the way you all as a group conduct yourself and present yourself is just fantastic. And I'll go to war for you anytime. If you ever need anything, not go to war with you against your teachers or against your previous, but for the right reasons, I'll go to war for you anytime. If there's anything I can ever do for you, you just come right down to my office, because I think you guys are terrific. Got that? Court adjourned.